6 weeks later, on an ordinary Tuesday, Elias received an email. His hands shook as he opened it on his phone during his lunch break at the warehouse, sitting on a loading dock with the industrial sounds of the city humming around him. "Dear Mr. Elias Thorne," it began, "thank you for your submission to Harbor Light Literary Magazine. We are pleased to inform you that your story, Voices from the Deep, has been accepted for publication in our winter issue." Elias read the words 3 times before they sunk in. Accepted. His story was going to be published. People would read it. Strangers would read words he'd written in the darkness of his small room, words he'd pulled from the depths of his own experience. He called his father that evening, something he'd been doing more regularly. Thomas answered on the second ring, his voice stronger now, more animated. "Dad, I got some news," Elias said, and he could hear his own voice in the smile. "Tell me." "I'm going to be published in a literary magazine. It's small, but it's real. Someone thought my writing was good enough to share with the world." There was a pause, and for a moment Elias worried the line had dropped. Then he heard his father's voice, thick with emotion. "Elias, I'm so proud of you. Your mother, she would have been over the moon. She always said you had a gift for seeing things deeply, for understanding people's hearts." "I wish she could see this," Elias said quietly. "Maybe she can," Thomas replied. "I'd like to think she's watching wherever she is, and I know she's proud, just like I am." After they hung up, Elias went straight to the bookstore. It was late, nearly closing time, but Margaret was still there, sorting through new arrivals. When she saw his face, she stopped what she was doing. "They accepted it," he said simply. Margaret's face broke into a radiant smile. She came around the counter and hugged him tightly. "I knew they would. I knew it, Elias. This is just the beginning for you." That night, Elias walked home through the city streets with a lightness in his step that he'd never felt before. The city that had seemed so cold and overwhelming when he'd first arrived now felt different. The lights were brighter, the sounds more musical, the possibilities endless. He thought about the lighthouse, about the boy he'd been when he stood on those cliffs, looking out at the sea, dreaming of something more. That boy had been so afraid of staying, afraid of leaving, afraid of disappointing people, afraid of failing. But somewhere along the way, through the struggle and the pain and the small daily acts of courage, that boy had grown up. He'd learned that fear doesn't disappear. You just learn to move forward despite it. He'd learned that freedom isn't just about escaping what holds you back, but about actively building the life you want. He'd learned that healing doesn't mean forgetting the past, but learning to carry it in a way that makes you stronger. The winter issue of Harbor Light Literary Magazine came out in December, just as the city was transforming into a wonderland of lights and decorations. Elias held the physical magazine in his hands, staring at his name in print, Voices from the Deep by Elias Thorne, and felt a surge of emotion so powerful it nearly brought him to his knees. Margaret framed the magazine page with his story and hung it in the bookstore. "Local author," she wrote on a card beneath it. "Watch for his name, you'll be seeing it again." People came to the bookstore and read his story. Some of them sought him out, telling him how much it had moved them, how they'd recognized something of themselves in his words. Each conversation was a gift, a reminder of why storytelling mattered. But the most meaningful response came from an unexpected source. One afternoon, a man in his 50s approached Elias in the bookstore. He had weathered hands and salt and pepper hair, and when he spoke, his voice carried the cadence of someone who'd spent time near the sea. "I read your story," the man said, "the one about the lighthouse. I was a keeper once, up north. Lost the job when they automated the system. I've been struggling since then. Didn't know what to do with myself, you know? But your story, it helped me understand something, that it's okay to let go of who you were and figure out who you're going to be next. So, thank you. I just wanted you to know that your words mattered." After the man left, Elias sat in the bookstore and cried. Not from sadness, but from the profound realization that his story, his pain, his experience, his growth, had reached someone and helped them. This was the power of writing, the magic of sharing our stories. We could reach across the distance between souls and say, "You're not alone. I've felt this too." As winter deepened, Elias continued writing. He was working on something longer now, a novella about fathers and sons, about the legacies we inherit and the ones we choose to create. It was hard work, demanding, but it felt right. It felt like his calling. He also quit his job at the warehouse. It was a risk, but Margaret had offered him part-time work at the bookstore, and he'd started picking up freelance writing assignments for local publications. The money was tighter, but he had time. Time to write, time to read, time to become the person and the writer he wanted to be.